They said I'd never make it. Now they work for me. My name is Marcus Hill, and for most of my 20s, I was invisible. At least that's how my old boss, my coworkers, and even my so-called friends treated me. Back then, I worked as a junior technician in a mid-sized engineering company. Nothing glamorous, just fixing equipment, running maintenance checks, and making sure everyone else could do their real jobs. I was the guy who showed up early, stayed late, and still got overlooked in every meeting. And the funny part? I didn't even hate it at first. I actually believed that hard work would speak for itself. It didn't. Every time I suggested an improvement or a faster process, someone else took the credit. Every promotion went to someone louder, not smarter. Every raise? Maybe next quarter, Marcus. After a while, I stopped volunteering ideas. I just watched, listened, and learned, quietly. But there was one person I'll never forget. Mr. Dalton, my boss. He was the kind of manager who wore expensive suits and made bad decisions sound profound. He loved humiliating people in front of the team. And I was his favorite target. He called me Maintenance Marcus, said I didn't have the brains for management. Told me once that some people were just meant to follow. I nodded and smiled, but in my head, I promised myself something. One day you'll work for me. That promise became fuel. During lunch breaks, I started studying business management, coding, automation, anything that could help me understand how the company really worked. I noticed where the money leaked, which systems failed, which clients complained. And I built something on the side, a piece of software that could predict and prevent equipment failures before they happened. I named it Helix. At first, it was just an experiment. But when I tested it on a few machines, breakdowns dropped by half. That's when I realized I was sitting on gold. I quit my job 6 months later. Dalton laughed when I handed him my resignation letter. "Where are you going, Marcus? Starting your own cleaning service?" I just smiled. Something like that. The next 2 years were brutal. I poured everything into Helix. My savings, my time, my sanity. I lived in a rented room, coded through the night, pitched to investors who said interesting, but never called back. Then, one day, a logistics company in Chicago decided to try it. Their downtime dropped 80% in 3 months. Word spread. Then came contracts from 2 more companies, then 5, then 20. By the end of year 3, Helix was the industry standard. I had offices in 3 states, 80 employees, and more money than I'd ever seen in my life. But the best part? My old company, the one that told me I wasn't good enough, started losing clients. Machines breaking, deadlines missed, chaos everywhere. So when my assistant told me they'd requested a demo of Helix, I almost laughed. Of course they did. I told her to set up the meeting. A week later, I walked into their office, my old office, wearing the kind of suit Dalton used to brag about. They didn't recognize me at first. Then Dalton froze mid-handshake. "Marcus?" "In the flesh," I said, smiling. "I hear you're having some maintenance issues." He swallowed. "You own Helix?" "I built it," I said simply. We moved to the conference room. The entire management team, the same people who used to ignore me, sat quietly as I ran the presentation. Every slide felt like poetic justice. "This feature reduces downtime by 60%, I said. "You know, that might have saved you a few million in the last 2 years. Dalton forced a laugh. "Impressive, really impressive." When I finished, their CEO leaned forward. "We're interested. Can we negotiate terms?" I looked at Dalton. "Of course, but I don't do business with companies that undervalue their people." The CEO blinked. "Meaning?" "Meaning," I said, "I'm buying you, not selling to you." Silence. A week later, the deal went through. Their debts, their systems, their contracts, all mine. The first meeting as owner was surreal. Dalton sat across from me, quiet, pale. Welcome to Helix Systems, I said. I believe you already know the boss? For the first time in his life, Dalton didn't have a comeback. I didn't fire him. I made him head of maintenance. Some lessons deserve time to sink in. Now, every time I walk through that office, people stand a little straighter. They remember how they treated me. And I remember how far I've come. They said I'd never make it. Now they work for me. And the best revenge? Watching them realize that the man they once ignored built the empire they now depend on. So tell me, what would you have done? Would you fire them all or let them stay and watch you rise every single day? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Twisted Revenge Tales for more powerful stories of karma, success, and payback.